Welcome to the deep dive. So today we have, I think, a really fascinating mission. We're exploring a world that, on the surface, it feels like high Victorian industrialism.
Right.
You've got these meticulous dress codes, complex currency, and this really high-stakes financial anxiety.
Absolutely.
But if you look just a little bit closer into the sources, everything is underpinned by this radical, almost unbelievable historical twist.
And we begin with, the most fundamental act of daily life, right? Preparing for a simple errand in Tingen, a city in the Loon Kingdom.
Okay.
Our protagonist, he's a scholarly figure, and he's dressed impeccably. Black suit, vest, top hat, the whole image of respectability.
9 yards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that formality is immediately undercut by what he's actually doing. He's preparing to buy ingredients for a luck enhancement ritual.
A luck ritual.
The fact that he needs a bit of magic just to get through the day, well, that tells you everything you need to know about the tension he's feeling.
And the money he's carrying? That tells you the rest. Before he even steps out, he gets the family savings, which are hidden, not in a safe, but inside a cushion.
Inside a cushion.
He pulls out 8 faded, dark green notes. Okay, let's just stop right there because those 8 notes, they introduce the entire financial system of the Loin Kingdom.
It's so important we get this hierarchy because the level of detail, it just shows how precious every single penny is. At the top, you have the gold pound.
The gold pound.
It's paper-based, supposedly gold-backed, and it comes in 1, 5, and 10 denominations. That's the big money.
Then you step down to the soli.
Right, the soli. Ranked second, and historically it gets its name from old silver coins. You see it in 1 and 5 denominations.
And here's the key conversion you have to get your head around. 20 soli equals 1 gold pound.
And then, beneath all that, you have the tiny everyday copper pence. 12 copper pence make up 1 soli.
So when he pulls out these 8 notes, he's holding 2 5 soli notes and 6 1 soli notes.
So that's 16 soli in total. If 20 soli make a pound, this is what, just under a gold pound?
Roughly.
Yeah.
It's not pocket change.
No, this is the household's entire remaining buffer. And you can just feel how the scarcity of it is paralyzing him.
I really love the sensory details here, though. You can almost smell the money.
Mm-hmm.
He notes this faint, unique ink smell, this sort of specific, slightly metallic scent of currency. And he finds the picture of the monarch, George III, especially adorable.
Which is funny, right? He's described as stern and old-fashioned with these 2 mustaches.
Exactly. It's not that he thinks it's cute. It's that he just so intensely desires the power that those watermarked anti-counterfeit notes represent.
And that desire, it immediately translates into this extreme caution. His security protocol is pretty astonishing.
He folds 2 notes neatly, puts them in his left jacket pocket, separating them from the few pence he's got in his trouser pocket.
Which is, a basic anti-theft strategy.
But the truly chilling detail is his final line of defense.
The shimmering brass revolver.
Yes. And he knows he's never actually practiced shooting. He's terrified of it going off by accident.
Especially since the one time it was fired, it was during the suicide of the person whose life he's now living.
Yeah, the previous owner's final act.
So to manage that risk, to stop it misfiring on the street, he manually rotates the cylinder. He aligns the empty chamber with the gun's hammer.
So if he panics and pulls the trigger.
It's virtually guaranteed to just fire on an empty round. It's this desperate tactical measure born purely out of fear.
And desperation. He cannot afford a single mistake.
Not even a mechanical one.
It just speaks volumes about the danger in Tingen and also the sheer stakes of the trip he's about to make. Because this isn't just about ritual ingredients.
Exactly. This is the hinge moment in his life. The sources give us the precise wage breakdown, and it clarifies everything. Why he's so paranoid, why this interview is so important.
Okay, let's break down the incomes then, just to give context for that. Half a pound in his pocket. His brother, Benson, who's already working, he earns 1 gold pound, 10 sellies per week.
And an ordinary factory worker
might get 1 gold pound, maybe a bit more. That's basically the baseline for survival.
Okay, now compare that to the job he's going for. A lecturer at Tingen University. If he gets it, his probationary salary starts at 2 gold pounds a week.
2 pounds.
And after probation, that jumps to 3 gold pounds, 10 soli per week.
That is just skiddable.
It's astronomical in this context. It's more than double the family's main income right now.
It's the difference between constant struggle and, genuine financial comfort.
It's a shift in class status. It's not just a better paycheck.
And the dreams that go with that salary jump are just as transformative. His main fantasy is renting a bungalow out in the suburbs.
And it's described in detail. 5 to 6 rooms, 2 bathrooms, A huge balcony dining room.
An underground storage room.
That sounds like a total pipe dream, right?
Ugh.
Until you realize the rent for a place like that is quoted at around 19 soli up to 1 gold pound, 18 soli a week.
So if you're making 3 gold pounds, 10 soli.
That dream is suddenly totally within reach. The sheer size of that opportunity explains why he has an empty-chambered revolver ready to go just to go buy some bread.
But then we're immediately grounded by the job market reality. We're reminded that for a history graduate without connections, finding work is almost impossible.
Right, there aren't many consultancy roles, and without a recommendation, you can't get a public servant job.
So this interview, it is his one and only golden ticket.
So he steps out into the city of Tingen, revolver hidden, money divided, and the city itself is, well, it's a paradox.
It's the middle of summer, almost July, but Tingen is pretty far north. The sources say the high temperature doesn't even hit 30 Celsius, so the mornings are cool.
Refreshing even, but the actual sensory experience is anything but.
He steps into the brilliant sun, but the streets in this low-income area are just choked with filthy water and junk.
And the city has sewers, but the sheer amount of poverty and overcrowding just means hygiene is a constant battle.
It's that mix of beauty and squalor.
Yeah. And mixed in with the noxious smells of waste or the hot, fragrant aromas from the hawkers selling breakfast.
You've got roasted fish, oyster soup, muffins, eel soup, conch.
All this fresh produce. It's a chaotic environment, really, designed for quick, cheap meals.
And beneath that chaos, you're reminded of the social backdrop. Thieves, desperate people working part-time, and starving children being exploited by adults.
So he has to blend in. He's slouching slightly, pressing down on his hat.
The exact opposite of the confident lecturer he wants to be.
He finally gets to Smirin Bakery, which is run by a Mrs. Wendy Smirin. His first purchase is purely practical. 8 pounds of rye bread.
Which is 16 loaves, half a pound each. And this is where high-level politics just slams directly into the daily cost of survival.
The price shock is immediate. Mrs. Smirin asks for 9 pence.
And he catches himself, right? He asks, wasn't it 11 pence 2 days ago?
And more than that, just last month, that same bread cost 15 pence.
15 pence. We are talking about the price of a basic necessity dropping by almost 40% in just a few weeks.
And the reason isn't a market correction. It is a political victory. Mrs. Smirin says the price drop is directly because of the repeal of the Grain Act.
Which happened because of street protests. This wasn't a quiet policy shift. It was forced by public action.
To really get the significance, you need to know what the Grain Act actually did. Its whole purpose was to protect domestic agriculture.
You mean protect the profits of the big landowners?
Exactly. It did this by setting a price floor. So when domestic grain prices rose above a certain level, it just stopped all grain imports from southern nations.
Nations like Fanapotter, Mason, and Lundberg.
So basically, the policy artificially drove up the price of essential food to protect one specific economic class.
And the citizens who were protesting, they were protesting high food prices.
No.
And their success had an immediate real-world impact.
That 9 pence loaf of bread is a direct result of political struggle.
It's just a powerful example of macro policy hitting the micro budget of a, gold pound 10 soli family.
So after getting his bread, he takes his change and heads over to the lettuce and meat market. He's just trying to finish his errand.
Right. Get some mutton stew ingredients for his sister, just a normal day.
And this is the moment. This is where the mundane just crashes right into the monumental.
As he's walking, he passes an intersection, and there are clowns handing out flyers for a circus. It's a totally normal, distracting street scene.
But then a horsewoman's voice calls out from this little decorated tent. She's got a painted face, a pointed hat, and she's offering to tell fortunes.
But just dismisses her. He doesn't have any spare cash.
But when the woman laughs and says, "My tarot divination is very accurate," that one word, tarot, it just stops him cold.
The pronunciation is almost identical to the tarot cards from his previous life.
The sources say he was instantly dumbfounded, shocked.
Because in this world, tarot isn't some ancient, forgotten thing tied to Orthodox gods. The history is stunningly specific and modern.
It was created by a single, real historical figure, Rosel Gusta, just over 170 years ago.
And Rosel Gusta is not just a historical figure. He is, like, the historical figure.
If you want the definition of a Renaissance man, this is him. But with a profoundly violent and world-changing portfolio.
Okay, let's break this down. First, he was the ultimate inventor and engineer. He's credited with inventing the steam engine and dramatically improving the sailing boat. He transformed travel and industry for the whole world.
Okay, so that's one. Second, he was a massive political revolutionary. He overthrew the imperial rule of the Intis kingdom.
Right, becoming the first consul of the Intis Republic.
But he didn't stop there. He eventually turned that republic into an empire and proclaimed himself Emperor Caesar.
So he goes from revolutionary to emperor. Third, he even changed religion.
He was recognized by the god of craftsmanship, and because of Rosel's influence and his tech breakthroughs, that deity's name was officially changed to the god of steam and machinery.
His impact literally changed what people worshipped.
Which raises a really fascinating question. How does a man who overthrows kingdoms, invents steam engines, and changes the names of gods also find time to be a game designer?
A game designer.
He established the modern system of paper cards and invented play styles that would be, instantly familiar to you. Upgrade, Fighting the Landlord, Texas Poker, and Quint.
Wait a second. So the guy who ushers in the age of steam and deposes kings is also the guy who designed the games people play in pubs on a Friday night.
The juxtaposition is staggering.
It's unbelievable.
That is the ultimate tension of this world. And just to round out his epic life, he was also the great explorer and colonizer.
Of course he was.
His marine fleets discovered the sea route to the southern continent, which kicked off the entire era of colonialism in this world.
So this revolutionary, this god maker, this emperor, is also the guy who invented Texas poker.
Exactly.
That is why the sound of the word tarot stops him in his tracks. He's looking at a piece of casual street entertainment, knowing it's a living relic of one of the most violent, transformative lives in history.
And that life ended violently, too. Roselle was assassinated in his old age in the year 1198 of the Fifth Epoch at the White Maple Palace.
And his assassins were a coalition, right?
A powerful one. The Church of the Eternal Blazing Sun, the old deposed Intis royal family, the Sauron family, and other aristocrats. They all teamed up.
It's a history so grand and so dark, and yet somehow it filters all the way down to a street-side divination tent.
And that's the real insight we've pulled out today, isn't it? We went from the precise calculation of 8 faded soli notes hidden in a pillow,
Through the terrifying need to load a revolver with an empty chamber just to walk down the street.
and we saw how massive street protests directly changed the price of bread because of the Grain Act's repeal.
And that entire journey, it all culminated in this realization that the cultural history of their common leisure, their card games, their fortune-telling is directly tied to the epic, violent saga of a world-changing revolutionary who invented steam engines and declared himself emperor.
It just collapses the distance between, high history and low culture.
It really does. So we'll leave you with this final thought to consider. Built on the life of Roselle Gusta, what does it mean when the most monumental, world-shattering political and religious history is directly tied to the seemingly lightweight, daily leisure activities of the common person?
If the inventor of your civilization's foundation is also the inventor of your poker game, how do you measure the gravity of your daily life?
Something to mull over next time you look at a deck of cards.